All right, since it's the end of the year, I've always often asked what are the best cards to invest in. As you know, I love to flip any card I can make money on. But when I'm asked for like what are the best cards to invest in, I generally think about the long-term buy and hold. So I'll do my best shot here at kind of some recos here. And in order to do this, I'm going to take you through my Sports Cards Edge card tracker, which auto updates with the prices of PSA graded cards, the populations, and then I have some of my own metrics here around the rarity of the cards, the total market cap, and the demand per card, and so forth. And I'll take you through it. But if I'm thinking about a buy and hold situation for cards, especially if you're coming in new in 2023 or you're looking to expand your investment in sports cards, I generally go with the GOATs. So in hockey, it's pretty easy. We're really talking about Wayne Gretzky. If you go look at his stats, they're unbelievable. He's the all-time goal scoring leader, point scoring leader, and if he didn't score any goals, he'd still be the all-time point scoring leader because his assists are better than anyone else's goals and assists combined. So I've got his Opeachy 1979 rookie card here, which I personally own in my collection as personal collection and long-term investment. And then the Topps version of that card, and you can see the current prices per grade. This sheet updates every time you open it. The PSA populations, so in general, kind of an above average graded card is at least a PSA 6 or better. And then the populations and so forth here. So there's lots of data here that is constantly updating, and you can see that here. And then when you talk about basketball, we're really talking about Jordan. We're talking about his 1986 Fleer. I generally really like his actual Fleer rookie card over the sticker. I've put both in the sheet here, number 3 and number 4, as you can see. But I generally think a card is a card. I know people like to collect stickers as well, and they do grade them. So both of those here. And then football, I may be biased admittedly here as a big Brady fan, but I don't think anyone's going to hit 7 Super Bowl world titles anytime soon. So I've got his playoff contender rookie card, which is on the pricey side, and then the more affordable Bowman Chrome here, which is really one of his more popular cards in terms of what is selling the most. And then when you talk about like the GOATs and the best card of each sport, like I actually think hockey, basketball, and football are relatively easy. Baseball is actually one of the harder ones. I've included the 1952 Topps Mickey Mantle here. By no way am I going out and buying, a high-grade version of this card. Any of these cards are going to be, pretty expensive. But what I do think is attainable, and I'm generally looking at a 1933 Ruth Gowdy here. In the $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 range, you can get a nice low-graded PSA. Actually, I recommend PSA 1.5 and above, which means the card is intact. There's no missing pieces out of it, and generally they look pretty good, and I kind of like the nostalgia of a little bit beat-up old card anyway. Well, that's the great ones. And then I added in here the 89 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. card, just so you can see that when you get to sort of the quote-unquote junk wax era, there's 94,000 of those graded. So this sheet kind of covers all that. I've populated here with some of the kind of go-to long-term cards that you can buy and hold. But let me show you what I think is really cool about this sheet, because I've now made this accessible to everybody. Anyone can get this sheet and use it. You can track any cards that you want. It shows you in the instructions how to change the cards. But I'm going to just populate this with some... Which way am I going here? Here we go. Additional cards here. And you'll see it automatically pops in. So when you load in the cards, it's going to load them in here. So the first one that I really like here is the 1980 Topps Rickey Henderson. I don't think there's going to be another player like this in terms of stolen bases. Like, the game has really changed. It's all about power and home runs. And then I really like, let me show you in the data here, the reason there's such a huge jump from his PSA 9, which I think is a reasonable and affordable $1,700 right now, to a PSA 10 being $117,000, is because if you look at the data, less than 0.1% of all the cards that have been graded by PSA are a PSA 10. So this card is just known to have manufacturing and centering problems and so forth. It's really, really hard to get in great condition. You can see an above average grade as a PSA 8 and above. I just love the fact that, if you look across here, you can get 25% of the Brady Bowman chromes in a PSA 10, 5 to 15% is kind of standard if you look at some of these. But to see this Ricky Henderson card with so few PSA 10s, that's what draws me to that card. Plus, he's kind of a one of a kind in terms of a modern base stealer. I mentioned Jordan for basketball. I've included the chrome versions of Kobe and LeBron. I think they're both their generation's like go-to basketball player. I love Kobe's cards. I've done a lot of collecting and trading of those cards there. Let me give LeBron a refresh here real quickly while we're at it. And this should auto-populate. And so I think these are actually reasonably affordable cards that you can get. Sorry, this will come in here in a minute. There we go. If you're looking for like basketball goats, obviously it's hard to beat Jordan. I don't necessarily love that LeBron is still playing. I really like going to retired Hall of Famers for long-term buy and hold, just so there's no scandals, steroids, things that can make cards values crash and so forth. I've also added here for football, so a little bit more than nostalgia, but Montana and Rice. These are awesome looking cards. There's two of my favorite in terms of just the look of like old school football from when I was growing up, but as well as just the famed history of the 49ers back then. And then I cannot say that I'm a soccer fan or a football, proper football fan, but with Messi finally getting his World Cup, I just thought I'd add in, this sheet will track any number of millions of cards you pick from, so you can look at the latest data. So if you haven't done so already, head over to Sports Cards Edge, look at our Sports Cards Edge tracker. You can put in any cards here that you want to watch, either to flip. You can put in cards that are in your own collection and you want to track the values over time. Or if you're just looking to create a watch list of cards that you want to find for the best price, what I think is really handy about this is I'll make a whole sheet of cards that I'm looking to flip, and then I'll look at what's selling on eBay and I see a PSA 8, and if it's undervalued, then I bid on it. If it's at about value, I'm not going to mess with it, and I'll go on to the next flip. So definitely take a chance, and let me show you what that looks like. So head on over to Sports Cards Edge. This is the Sports Cards tracker I just took you through. It auto-updates daily with the latest prices and auction values. You can track your collections, you can create your watch list, and so forth. So hope you appreciate all the work I put into this. I find it really handy, saves me hours of organization and data gathering from my own watch list, and now I've made it available to everybody else. Thanks. Bye.